Attention passionate New York Giants fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on New York Giants' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true New York Giants fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and New York Giants fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. There's a lot to unpack here when it comes to the Giants' latest roster moves, the ongoing trade rumors, and what this all means for their future. The Giants, as we know, have been quietly building something special, and this offseason has been no exception. They've been making strategic decisions, not just in the draft but also in how they handle their roster, especially with some of their young talent and veteran players. And right now, there's a lot of chatter about some key players like Jalen Hyatt, Daniel Bellinger, and even Jameis Winston, and how their futures might unfold in New York. So let's dive into all of that, piece by piece, and see what's really going on behind the scenes. Starting with Jalen Hyatt, the wide receiver drafted in the third round in 2023, who made quite an impression during his rookie season. Remember, Hyatt was a guy who averaged nearly 19 yards per catch and scored 15 touchdowns during his final year at Tennessee. Those numbers, combined with his explosive playmaking ability, were exactly what the Giants were looking for when they traded up to pick him. It was a bold move, and it showed their confidence in his potential. But as we all know, the NFL isn't just about college stats or potential, it's about how players adapt to the pro game, and Hyatt's first season was a mixed bag. He played over half of the offensive snaps in his rookie year, which is a solid start. But last season, his workload was dramatically cut back, and that's been a cause for concern among fans and analysts alike. Why the sudden change? Well, it's largely due to the depth chart. On the depth chart, Hyatt finds himself behind Malik Nabers, Darius Slayton, and Wan'Dale Robinson. These are players the coaching staff trusts, and with Nabers and Robinson showing promise, it's understandable that Hyatt's opportunities have been limited. But what's interesting is that, despite his reduced role, other teams have been interested in acquiring him. According to Ryan Dunleavy from the New York Post, multiple teams reached out to the Giants about trading Hyatt. His ability to stretch the field, combined with his college production, made him an attractive trade target for teams looking for that big play receiver. Yet, the Giants' management, led by GM Joe Schoen, has rebuffed those offers. They see Hyatt as part of their future plans, even if his role is currently limited. Schoen has been clear that Hyatt remains on the roster because they believe in his potential, and he's committed to developing him further. Despite catching just 8 passes for 62 yards last year, Hyatt has been working hard this offseason, bulking up to become a more versatile player. That's a key point here. Hyatt's willingness to improve and adapt could mean he might see more opportunities down the line, especially if injuries strike or if the coaching staff decides to shift their offensive approach. But as of now, it's clear that Hyatt's role isn't guaranteed, and he's in a bit of a holding pattern. Giants are betting on his upside, and that's why they're holding onto him rather than trading him away. Now, moving on to Daniel Bellinger. The young tight end, drafted in the 4th round in 2022, also saw his role diminish last season. After appearing in 62% of the offensive snaps in 2023, his snap share fell to just 32% in 2024. That's a significant reduction, and it reflects the team's shift in personnel and strategy. The arrival of veteran Chris Manhertz, who the Giants re-signed in March, along with the emergence of Theo Johnson, a 4th-round pick this year, has pushed Bellinger further down the depth chart. The team still sees potential in him, but with limited playing time, it's clear that Bellinger is fighting an uphill battle to secure a bigger role. What's particularly interesting is that Bellinger has attracted trade interest himself. Teams are always on the lookout for young tight ends with potential, and Bellinger fits that profile. But the Giants appear intent on holding onto him for now, likely because they see him as a developmental piece, especially with his rookie contract nearing its final year. It's also worth noting that the Giants have been cautious with their tight ends, given the importance of the position in their offensive scheme. The fact that they've kept both Bellinger and Manhertz indicates that they want versatility and depth, knowing that injuries and game situations can change everything. On the other hand, Greg Dulcich, another tight end acquired off waivers in November, didn't quite find his spot in the Giants' plans this season. According to ESPN's Jordan Ronan, the Giants wanted to keep Dulcich on their practice squad, but he saw a clearer path to playing time elsewhere, ultimately signing with the Miami Dolphins. That's a tough break for Dulcich, but it also highlights how competitive the NFL is, especially at a position like tight end where the roster spots are precious. The Dolphins, with their quarterback situation under Russell Wilson, are always looking for weapons, and Dulcich might see more opportunities there. Now, let's shift gears a little and talk about the quarterback situation, which is always a hot topic in New York. As we all know, the Giants are entering 2025 with a lot riding on their young quarterback, Jackson Dart. The rookie has shown flashes of brilliance during the preseason and is considered the future of the franchise. But there's also a veteran presence in Jameis Winston, who has been with the team for a little while now. Winston's experience and leadership are seen as valuable assets, especially for a young quarterback like Dart to learn from. But here's the twist. Rumors have been swirling about Winston's potential availability via trade. Despite the team's apparent desire to keep him, other teams have called about acquiring Winston, sensing that his veteran experience could be useful elsewhere. Assistant GM Brandon Brown recently shut down those rumors, emphasizing that Winston is happy and wants to stay with the Giants. But, as Dunleavy reports, the calls from other teams indicate that Winston's name is still on the radar. Why? Well, because of the quarterback battle and the future of the team. Winston's presence in the locker room and the QB room dynamic has been praised, especially by Matt Sims, a former NFL quarterback who recently appeared on the Talkin' Ball with Pat Leonard podcast. Sims pointed out that Winston's perspective and influence have been instrumental in helping the Giants' quarterback room gel this offseason. That's a big deal because, at the end of the day, the Giants want to give Dart every chance to succeed, and having a veteran like Winston around can make a difference, not just on the field, but in terms of team chemistry and leadership. Now, with the start of the 2025 season approaching, the Giants are in a delicate spot. They want to develop Dart without putting too much pressure on him, but at the same time, they need a reliable quarterback ready to step in if injuries or struggles occur. It's a balancing act, and Winston's future in New York could hinge on how well Dart performs and how the team's management views Winston's role moving forward. The trade rumors, though, serve as a reminder that NFL teams are always looking for ways to improve, and sometimes, veteran players like Winston become pawns in those negotiations, even if the player himself prefers to stay. So, what does all of this mean for the Giants' season? Well, it's clear they're trying to strike a balance between developing young talent and maintaining a competitive roster. Their strategy involves holding onto promising players like Hyatt and Bellinger, while also exploring options to upgrade or adjust the roster through trades or signings. The coaching staff and front office seem to be betting on their young core, especially with Dart leading the way, but they're also aware of the need for experienced players who can guide this team through the tough moments. And let's not forget, the NFC East remains one of the most competitive divisions in the NFL. The Eagles, Cowboys, and Commanders are all making moves, and the Giants need to stay sharp. Their roster decisions now could have ripple effects all season long, impacting how they compete and whether they can finally get back to the playoffs and make a real push for the Super Bowl. The division is close, and every game, every play, and every roster decision matters. As fans, we're all eager to see how this puzzle fits together in the coming weeks. Will Hyatt finally find more opportunities? Will Bellinger get a fresh start somewhere else, or will he prove to be an essential part of the Giants' plans? What about Winston? Will he stay, or will another team make a move? And most importantly, can Dart handle the pressure and lead this team to new heights? The answers are still unfolding, but one thing is for sure, the Giants are not standing still. They're making strategic moves, and everything points to a season full of surprises, drama, and hope. In conclusion, this offseason has been a mix of cautious optimism and bold moves. The Giants are clearly trying to build a roster that balances youth and experience, and they're not afraid to make tough decisions. The interest from other teams in Hyatt and Bellinger highlights their value, even if their roles are uncertain right now. Winston's situation continues to be a topic of speculation, but the team's focus remains on developing Dart and making sure they're ready for whatever challenges come their way. As we gear up for the season, fans can be assured that the Giants are doing everything they can to climb back to the top of the NFC East, and perhaps beyond. It's an exciting time to be a Giants supporter, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds in the coming months. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest New York Giants news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, New York Giants fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all these roster moves and trade rumors? Do you think Hyatt will break out in the upcoming season? Are you confident that Bellinger can find a bigger role, or do you see him moving on? What about Winston? Do you believe he'll stay with the Giants, or is another team going to make a move? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Giants. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest New York Giants news.